Well, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and part of the reason this was established was to help break down the stigma of having conversations about mental health. And I've got Jody Klubnik with me from Graceful Pathways. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chet?
I'm well. Thanks for being here. So tell us a little bit about Graceful Pathways. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I am a licensed clinical social worker. I have a master's in social work and a bachelor's in psychology. I often see many that struggle, silently struggle with anxiety, depression, grief, trauma, and I wanted to create a space where they could come and feel truly seen, heard, validated, empowered, supported.
I think that's really is a key piece of it is people. I feel like in the conversations I've had with folks about mental health is that they feel like their situation is the only situation. They're the only ones going through it, and they don't want to burden anyone else with their issue or their problem. That's accurate?
That is correct. A lot of times they don't want to come in here. Believe it or not, a lot of times I get clients that come in and they choose a stranger versus going to family. That's not to say that families couldn't give good support or advice, but a lot of times it's biased. You know, family members can be biased and base their advice or their guidance on their beliefs, and which could be completely different from the client.
Or that family member could have a similar problem.
Correct.
A lot of times you'll see that is the case, that family members that also didn't have someone to talk to or didn't have the avenue to seek help for their struggles, pass it on to other family members.
That is correct. 80% of my clients that come in with childhood trauma. You know, depending on what kind of environment they grow up in, whether it's a healthy one, unhealthy one, those habits or those behaviors that were modeled by the parents, you know, are often, they become the norm, and they impact us, you know, into our adult years. And so a lot of times people come in and they want to learn new habits, and it's really difficult at times when you've, you know, say for 30 years, you know, had a specific behavior, you know.
Yeah, I think that's key. As you know, there may be some of us in the world who feel like, oh, my childhood was great, and maybe we've just forgotten some of the things that maybe weren't so great, or we've pushed them back, and that is beginning to impact the way we interact as adults.
Right. Well, life is hard. We have things like COVID and taxes, and so we oftentimes help just, you know, not just trauma and grief, but with just everyday life challenges, relationship issues, parenting, you know, those sorts of things, you know. And now we have substance abuse, and so, and for some people, it's how they cope, and we help clients build relationships, and you know, we teach emotional regulation and new coping skills and new strategies, you know, to learn different ways.
Well, that's funny. You just said we teach them. Tell us a little bit about your team, because you've got a great close-knit team here.
One of the things I value mostly is my colleague Beth. She's not just my colleague and my employee, but she's a true gem. We collaborate on cases, you know, so, you know, because sometimes we just need a different perspective. We lift each other up. I value her totally. We work very well together.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the childhood traumas that you address and that you help your clients with. A lot of folks feel that, you know, kids, they're tough, they're resilient, they'll bounce back, they'll be just fine, and in some cases that's not necessarily the case. You can have one situation at home, but then you send your kids to school for half of the day, they're not even in your care. And a lot of times you don't even know what's going on. So how do you begin to notice at home things that may tell you that you need to take your child in to chat with somebody?
You know, children don't really get the ability until like teenage years, or they don't have the emotional maturity to like sort things through or think complex thoughts. So a lot of times when they're traumatized, they may not know how to express it through words. And most of the time they will express it through different behaviors, isolating, self-harming, crying for no reason, getting very anxious. You know, a lot of times, you know, teachers will say, this child's got ADHD, you know, and sometimes it stems from trauma. I do have a past history working in Child Protective Services, and a lot of times, they would label children with ADHD, not realizing it was the trauma, you know, from being removed from the home or, you know, whatever the case was.
So they're noticing a symptom of what really is a core issue.
Correct.
And until you treat that core issue, the symptom never goes away. You're just medicating a symptom.
Basically. It's like a lot of times what I tell clients, it's like having an open, bleeding wound and you're putting a Band-Aid on it, you know.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. I had a fantastic trauma teacher when I was at USM, and the way he explained it is that your brain kind of holds on to that trauma, and until you process it, it stays kind of stuck in there. And the way your brain kind of tells you there's something going on that you need to address is through a lot of times symptoms of anxiety, depression. You know, you get that irritability, the restlessness, things of that nature. A lot of times people don't always connect their trauma to, you know, those symptoms to an actual trauma. We have clients that will say, yes, I know this is why I had this trauma, but I don't want to process that because that's way too painful. Sure. You know, and then, you know, sometimes it really depends on where they are. We try to meet clients where they are. You know, some are motivated to make changes right away. Some come in because somebody wanted them to come in. But like I said, we try to meet them where they are, and we tailor each one of our treatment plans, you know, because no two people are alike. We tailor our treatment. It's personalized to them and their needs. Sure. And whatever their goals are. Well,
speaking about that treatment, we have a few moments left. Tell us a little bit about the insurance that you accept. You accept all insurances?
We do. We accept most of them. We offer a sliding scale to clients who don't have insurance, and we also offer that same sliding scale to clients that may have ridiculously high deductibles.
All right, listen, so give them a call if you have questions about yourself, if you have questions about your kids, anyone in your family, and you don't really know, give Jody and her folks here at Graceful Pathways a call. They can help you out. You see the number at the bottom of your screen. Give them a call. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.